Isn't that fun? It just
It
makes me
is.
giggle. It just makes me giggle. Just makes me giggle. So, hello,
Giggle.
hello. Thank you
Hello.
for joining me,
Thank
Aimee
you,
from
Gerald.
Mystic Rose Tarot, who I would imagine people have already liked and subscribed to your channel, but here's the reminder. So,
Thank you.
and we are here talking about, we're doing a deck casual for the Pulp Tarot, and it is by Todd Alcott. This is my version, and so we'll talk about that. But I wanted to let's say hi to a few people,
Yes.
and
Hi,
Chris
Chris.
Elemental Cartomancy is here. Hello, Chris.
Nice to
Beth
see you. Beth.
Aspasia Rising, and yep, I am great, Chris. I'm great. I'm actually, one of the reasons I'm great is I've got three good things going on. I'm here with Aimee. That's one. I'm talking about this deck,
Yes.
and there are great people in chat, and I think that is wonderful. And of course, you know Chris. Practical Mystic Carol is here, and I had the pleasure of meeting Carol yesterday on a live on Carla Astrology,
Oh,
and we
cool.
were talking about nines in tarot, and it was great.
Yay.
And Michelle Marie is here,
Michelle
Astrological
Marie.
Tarot, and I am going to be on Michelle Marie Astrological Tarot in a couple of weeks. So
Yay.
Lisa is here from Zena's Place Intuitive Card Readings. Hello.
Hi, Lisa.
Ivana Intuitive is here.
Hello, Ivana.
Ren is here.
Ren.
There you go. We've got our first work lurking. And Ivana, thank you.
Thank you, Ivana. Thank you.
So, thank you. I put purple on. So
Nice.
I'm
Like it. You're
yeah,
feeling
it's just,
spiritual.
I am feeling spiritual. So it's all like that. So, but yeah, Aimee, you are here, and what do you have coming up on your channel out of curiosity?
Well, for the week, not so much down the road. I pushed up my live readings for today, so I'll be doing live readings today at 3 o'clock Pacific now Standard Time, not daylight time. And I really appreciated that extra hour. I think that really helped. 3 o'clock today on the West Coast, 6 o'clock on the East Coast. And I recorded some deck insights. I'm not going to say reviews. So I have two coming up. One I need to still work through. So they'll be posted throughout the week. And I'll
Nice.
mention the decks. It's a deck that was gifted to me. It's actually the Wild Unknown Tarot. I finally got it.
Okay.
And I talk about it for about 50 minutes, and I compare it to the tin version and a deck that deals with the Kabbalah, which is where I'm going to be moving my practice towards more.
Okay.
It's called the Ashira Tarot.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be posted after the Wild Unknown Insight episode discussing that deck. And I will talk in detail about the Ashira deck afterwards, after I do the post, because I want to follow up and share my experience working with that deck in particular in line with the Tree of Life and the Kabbalah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's what I have for now.
And tomorrow I am on, it's Tuesdays with Tarot Stash exclusively on Jane the Seeker Tarot, and that's in the morning. And then on Tuesday afternoon, I'm doing another episode of Tarot the Stash Way. And I'm calling this a new segment called "I Have a Question" because when people who've been watching have been really wonderful in asking great questions through the lives when I've talked about them, when I've talked about things. And Heather from Indigo Jaguar Intuitive Arts is actually coming on and is going to ask me questions. I
Oh.
do not know the questions, so I'm living dangerously. So,
Anything they're going
um,
to ask you?
anything tarot related.
Right. Okay.
So, and and then I am with Aimee, or no, I'm with April from Tarot and Witchery and Ben on Wednesday, and then Thursday I am I am with Deb H doing readings in the morning. So
Okay.
it'll be
You got a
fun.
full
So
week.
yes. So we're talking about the Pulp Tarot. This is, how many of you in the chat have this? And okay, so which Aimee and I have different versions. I have the 2021 first edition, and Aimee, you have the well,
Um, I guess I won't say mass produced because it's still an independent release. But
mhm,
this you can find at independent bookstores or primarily if you can get it through Todd's Etsy store.
which is
That's where I got
linked below. It's
it.
linked below, and just so that you know, I invited Todd. He was not available, needing lots of deadlines, including perhaps a future deck. So, Todd, if you're watching this, and if people, if they know their limits and they purchase responsibly, and they go to his website, put in there, Gerald sent me, you know,
Right, that's right.
um, yeah. So, but it's just fun. Oh, and Beth said reasonably priced too.
Yeah,
I think so,
yeah,
actually, especially for what you get. So,
yeah.
oh, look. Speak of Heather, she's
I
here, and
have
I
it.
did see Jonathan Daly is here. Hello,
Jonathan,
Jonathan.
aloha.
So, um, the box, I don't think I love it. We're both like
I
doing this. And
know.
I sent Todd a message, and I'm like, if you want to watch, we're gonna sing your praises for a while. This comes in a hard box, and it's like this. Does yours have mine has a ribbon? Does yours have a ribbon too?
It does, but it is
Okay,
different.
it is a little different. Okay, so yours is
Black.
probably a little bit larger.
Yours
Okay.
looks smaller. It looks like it could
Well,
be the box itself, I should say, not the back
this
is
is
different.
this is my size, but here's that,
Oh,
but I'm just
okay.
showing you compared to that. So, um anyhow, so so
Let's see.
I got this. Jeffrey purchased this for me last year for Yule, and so he got it from the Kickstarter. It's magnetic. And for those of you who remember Pulp Fiction, it looks like a little book, and that makes me ridiculously happy. I mean, I used to work in a library, and it's like, oh yeah.
It's yours
So,
is
oh
glossy.
yes, mine's glossy.
Yeah. So
So,
if you could find the first edition, grab it. But this is matte
yeah.
finish, and you can see it's a little different.
Hmm.
Yours is more
Yeah.
distressed up
Yeah.
on, yeah.
So, and Jonathan, it is on Etsy.
Mhm,
It is Todd Alcott Graphics, and it is linked below.
mhm.
So, and it does come with a little white book. So, and the little white book, it's here's something that I appreciate about what Todd does is he actually started with the how an oracle works, an introduction for the skeptical, and he talks about it, and it's just great. And one of the things that I wanted to reference here, and I appreciate about it is Todd gives a lot of support, and I wouldn't say reverence, but respect to the Rider-Waite Smith and Pamela Smiths. And he said, the Pulp Tarot would not exist without Rider-Waite Smith. Pamela Smith's illustrations for me pack so much more emotional and symbolic punch than any booklet describing tarot traditions could. The simple goal of the Pulp Tarot is to reframe RWS for a more current time with illustrations that are a little more grounded, more practical perhaps, or more profane, more colloquial, more worldly and human, while retaining the bulk of RWS's allegories.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and and it's terribly successful.
Yeah. Gerald
Terribly
and I were
successful.
talking about this before the chat with what Gerald just read. When you get the deck and you read the little booklet before looking at the deck, and I encourage read the book first, just a little bit, it's very thin, to read his insight, and then you go to the deck, you'll go, wow, he did it. So I hope this deck grows. I hope it
Yeah.
becomes popular for a few people or a lot of people.
Yes. Yes. And because this is such okay, heaping praise in Todd's general direction. The skill that he has as an artist is so apparent throughout this deck. Yeah, it's 11-11 there.
Yeah.
Woohoo. So and it's an overall it's about the overall genre of pulp fiction, not not the Tarantino film.
Yeah.
So but um and so there's that. Okay, slow down, Gerald. I'm getting so excited. The card stock. What do you think of the card stock?
I think it's good. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know what your stock is like, right? Because you got the first edition.
Oh, yeah.
This one feels, when I got my first RWS deck, I mean, there's been so many reproductions of that deck. It just reminds me of that card stock. So I know that doesn't help anyone, but it's good. It's sturdy. I want to say it's more on the sturdier side. It's not so bendable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a riffle shuffler, so that's not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
It has a good weight. This version
Yeah.
that I have.
It's easy to shuffle, and this is an RWS, so it is the same size.
Yeah.
So there's that. So if you want to know the size of it, and I also like to talk about looking at this. My version of the deck is edged. It's edged like the pulp fiction books that were edged in red or green. So it looks like the spine. So,
Yeah.
and yours is not,
It
correct?
isn't. Yes.
So,
And I think this is the second pressing of this, second or
okay.
third,
Mm-hmm.
I think, because there was the Kickstarter, which may be the version that you got. I'm not certain.
Mm-hmm.
And then came the second edition, which sold out. And then I think I may have the third version, like the third printing of it.
Okay.
And mine just has just the white borders.
Yeah, and mine are white. Uh, it is bordered. So, catching up on chat. Calla Lizzie is here. Hello. You're here exactly when you needed to be here.
Exactly.
Yes, and I have said pulp fiction because of the genre of fiction, not the movie. Um, and it's a cool deck, and I am glad to be doing this as well. So, okay,
Thank you so much.
looking at the other things that I like. There are no changes in the naming of the majors. The majors are still named as the RWS. Strength is 8 and justice is 11. And you will see me hold up the justice card a little bit later. There's a teaser. Um, the the court cards are named Page, Knight, Queen, King. So there's that. The elemental associations with the suit are the same as an RWS: air, swords, fire, wands, water, cups, and pentacles, earth. So, hello, and Tony, good to see you.
Thank you
Good
for
to see
coming in.
you. Yeah. And because I am an overachiever, and the directions people are facing in the deck, 9 cards have people facing to the left.
Oh,
27 people are looking toward the center. 21 are looking right. 14 of them are combined. And then there are 7 cards that really don't have any humans, so there's no exact direction there. So
that's impressive.
so I was loving it. And so Spiritual Rain is car lurking. So glad to have you here.
Hi.
Focus. Focus and
Please
keep yourself
listen.
safe.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Can I
okay.
ask you a
So
question, Harold? I'm
absolutely.
sorry, I don't want to throw off your
No,
flow. Um, is your attention for those directions of if there's humans, do you follow that in other decks? I'm just curious.
I do. I actually
Important for you.
Mark Astro Tarot he was on a live with me and Ben, and we were talking about things we look at with decks, and he does pay attention to the directions that people are facing, and he likes a deck that has a nice variety, and I hadn't really thought of it. So
Okay.
I I have added that, and it's a good way for me to also learn about the deck and to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that um, you know, 27 of them are facing straight out is pretty impressive. And then the combined one that is, with 14, where people are facing multiple ways, I think that's good too. So,
Mm.
um, so, um, and Calla Lizzie said, Tarot de Marseille does the directional thing. Yes. So, and there are no extra cards in the deck. So, so let me clear
Hmm.
off some of my stuff here.
I was just thinking, I think the only way I pay attention to directions, because I don't work the decks I don't focus so much on that have humans, are the pips, because the pips, then I can start seeing the direction of the suits, like where the cups
Mm-hmm.
are placed, pentacles, the wands, and the swords. That's where I probably pay more attention than
Mm-hmm.
for the individuals. I think the individuals just throw more into the mix for me, and I focus more on their energy than everything else.
Yes, and it's one of the wonderful things about being on YouTube is when I hear of a concept, I start paying attention to it,
Yeah.
and then it's interesting at how it weaves in and helps to support
Yes.
and enhance my readings, because sometimes I pay attention to the directionality and sometimes I don't. It is how it goes.
Yeah.
And
It's like
Ren said, yes, I find directionality, is that a word, to be very important. Yes, it is. It is a word. It is now. What were you going to say, Aimee?
it is today and from here on forward.
There you
Um,
go.
uh, no, I lost my train of thought. It's all good.
Uh-oh.
No, it's all good.
Actually, but that could be a really interesting, it could be a really interesting thing about for a tarot the stash way, the
Yeah,
directionality.
I was reading
So
your mind. We're on the same wavelength.
I like that. So okay, getting caught up in chat. That is a testimony to you, Gerald, as a teacher and student.
Yes.
You, I appreciate that. I love getting fresh ideas too.
Yeah.
Early Ritual is here. Hello.
Hello.
And Heather is having a live later today, so she's getting ready for that. And tune in tomorrow. You'll see Heather on my channel. So, um, did you want to say anything in general about the deck before we dive into our favorites?
Yes. I This deck, for people who've seen the decks that I work with, is a big leap away from what I normally work with. And
Hmm.
so and I embrace that because that means that I'm growing in my practice. Maybe I'm opening up in a sense to other seeing other perspectives.
Hmm.
In decks, there's some decks that I just start seeing patterns and they don't move me because they look so familiar. But the Pulp Tarot, I just when I saw it and just looking at the images and just relating to the genre and from our generation, I was just like, you know what? This is a fun deck. That's I think those were the words that came out. I think I need
Hmm.
there are lighthearted decks and oracle decks that are out there, but I don't relate to them. But this one
Hmm.
I do. I'm not saying that this is a funny deck or a humorous deck, but it takes uh, certain genres and things that we've seen growing up as kids, and it's put into a tarot format.
Hmm.
Just like the Garbage Pail Kids, I think it's a tarot deck or oracle deck,
I
and
think so.
I think it was Ange who had it on her channel.
Hmm.
And I was busting up laughing because I remember those stickers and those trading cards of the Garbage Pail Kids, and they actually made an oracle deck. I wouldn't
Yes.
read with something like that because those images can be pretty graphic and intense.
Hmm.
But it was lighthearted, so that's that's primarily where I got this deck. And then when I opened it up and I went through the cards and I started reading with it, um, it does me personally. It reads well. And Gerald joined me on my channel about a month or so ago when we were reading with this deck and we were having a blast.
Oh yeah,
Boy,
and the readings were very good. They were spot on, and the link to that is actually below. I linked that.
okay.
We read for 3 hours. That's how
It was
much.
3 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
But we got a
and
lot of swords, so you know
yes,
that's
yes.
what was going on at the time.
Um, Beth said, yes, I'm the same way. I have a difficult time relating to fun decks. I do own a few. They're like medicine or therapy almost.
Mm, yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, directional cards. Okay, adding it to
yeah,
my future to-do list. So,
I think that'd
um,
be great.
yeah. So, okay.
Yes.
Um, I will let you start. I'll let you pull out,
Okay.
we'll talk about and you can talk about decks that you like or cards that you like or cards that you are not as fond of. Just let me know
Yeah.
which.
There there are five. Gerald gave me an option of ways to choose the ones that I like
Hmm.
and the ones that I don't want to say don't like, but the ones that I just can't piece together. And again,
Hmm.
I'll go back to those cards that I'm not certain of, and I know I'll connect to it.
Of
So
course.
I have five, and I'll try and go through this very quickly.
Well, I tell you what, why don't you pick one and we'll show it, and then I'll pick one and we'll
Okay,
go back and forth because
sounds good.
what's usually interesting is there's overlap,
Yes, we'll see if we
and
have
I
the
love
same
that.
ones or not.
Hmm. I bet we will.
Okay, the first one I'm going to pull is looking right at me because I have them here horizontally. Um, the wands. The wands have a certain kind of energy, and the fonts are all the same. Gerald and I both come from an art school background, so we talked about
Hmm.
the typography and the layout of this of this deck. But the one card that just stood out for me, I think it's more of a graphic element. The Page of Wands just sort of seemed a little bit different for me energetically.
It is
And
also in my, this one doesn't slide in as
really,
easily as the other ones. Yeah.
yeah, there's just, I mean, oops. I'm going to go very quickly. There's our.
Yeah.
We
Do you
see
want me to do
movement.
that while you talk?
Sure.
I have them in order.
Okay.
And one of the things that is, I will say, the
The
fonts
style.
are the same for the font is the same in each of the minor suits.
Yes.
So, and we have the same format, so it's very, very helpful. And so,
So as you could see, as Gerald's going through the wands, we see different forms of movement. But this one,
hmm
also the style, it's just so
hmm
different. The
yeah,
the other wands show scenes like from the planet. I love that King of Wands.
yeah, I do
Um,
too.
Very strong. But this one just is like soft. It doesn't give me an energy of something strong. But also, the page is someone who is, we could sort of see from her body, leaning back a little bit, maybe a little coy, maybe a little bit shy,
hmm
kind of leaning back and just sort of guessing, what's going to happen ahead, just taking
Yeah.
precaution. So it's
hmm
like we get this fastness of energy with the wands, and then we get to the page of wands, and the energy just sort of momentarily stops, um,
Yes.
and kind of just uh, ruminates about what to do ahead. So I don't know. Just
hmm
that's just one. It's not a big issue, but it just stands out for me.
Yeah. It was one. It was like, so that was one that I had picked out that was a little different. One of the other ones that I picked out that was a little
Oh,
odd was the four. And here's the thing, and this is
yeah.
just me. There are a lot of people on this Four of Wands, and I'm not
Yes.
used to seeing the big celebration that is oftentimes
Yeah.
associated with it, that is suggested. So that was one of those things I went, huh, okay. But, if, I only had two cards that I was like, out
That
of,
one.
that's pretty good. So maybe a nod to the page,
Yeah.
only just starting on the path of fire. Could be,
Yeah.
could be. So,
That's what I was saying, sort of taking, leaning back a little bit and just assessing what needs to be done ahead. A little
exactly,
different. Um,
exactly.
okay. The other
Is
one
that
here,
for like a Bugsby Berkeley? I don't know a Bugsley Berkeley.
I think
Like,
he was a actor. I think
mm-hmm.
from the 20s or 30s, like the Roaring
So
Twenties, I think.
I will have to look that up. So being a little coy. So, all right.
Okay. Other one I have here, Four of Pentacles. Okay. I know the Four of Pentacles is normally associated with uh, greed and not hoarding, but
Mm-hmm.
this one we kind of see a reverse. We kind of see like, I don't know, the person's like in a sinkhole.
Yeah.
It's an interesting twist on the Four of
Yes.
Pentacles. Instead of hoarding it here, we're seeing the person who is getting the ramifications of holding on to
Mm-hmm.
this and just digging deeper. So we're almost seeing maybe the after effect of what happens with the Four of Pentacles.
Yeah.
Um, just
Yeah.
kind
And I think, I remember at one point seeing something on a social media where, I was growing up in the 70s. I thought quicksand was going to be a bigger problem than what it really was, because it was always in, so it's like the quicksand.
yeah,
So,
it'll
and
take
so,
you down very quickly.
yeah. But it's a different perspective, but
It is.
it fits. It
It
fits
does.
beautifully.
But
So,
you have to stop and take a look at it if you're familiar with the RWS and you get to this, you're
mhm,
like, what's going on here? So for me, it's more
yeah,
or less the after effect of,
sure, sure.
holding on
Okay.
to energy.
Ren has never seen these, so they're the Pulp Tarot, and uh,
Yeah.
musical numbers with hundreds of women here.
Yeah.
Yes, these the intention is they are these are pulp images from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, I would say. Movie posters, books, and things of that nature. So, and Tony said paying to get out of it could
Yep.
be, could be, and why. And I find his Jupiter finger overemphasized in the Four of Pentacles.
Jupiter
I don't
finger.
know. Which
Is it the
indicates
knuckle?
abundance. Maybe.
Is it the knuckle? Practical Mystic Carol? Overemphasize.
So,
Hmm.
yeah. So, cool. Okay. Yeah, that's what we need, more quicksand.
No, not now, actually.
So, no, we don't. We don't. So, um, do you, while we're waiting for Mystic Carol to give it, if it is it related to the knuckle? Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah.
So,
Because when you look at that
I
card,
don't know.
that
I don't
knuckle,
know the Jupiter finger.
yeah, I've never heard that before.
Very interesting.
Michelle
Yep.
Marie, if you're still here, maybe you can clarify that for us.
So, so
Um, should I pull another card?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm gonna get on. I have some interesting comparisons for the ones that I really like.
Okay.
So
Looking forward to that.
the
This
pointer finger,
one,
the pointer finger.
each finger is a planet, and the pointer finger is very large. Large,
Okay,
abundance, expansion. Now I follow you, Carol. Okay.
get it. Thank you, Carol. Thank you,
Thank you.
Lisa. Okay, the world.
Hmm. Um, this stands out, I feel, from the rest of the major arcana. Uh, it took me a while. I made reference to this when I was talking about this deck to the band New Order. I know a
Mm-hmm.
few people have made reference to Pan Am because we see the
Mm-hmm.
symbols here. We see the globe, which was the design insignia that
Mm-hmm.
Pan Am used, Pan Am the
Mm-hmm.
airlines. So it's it's a card that just makes you have to think a little bit more because we're seeing the graphics
Yeah.
of the direction that's happening here, and we also get this emphasis here of the world
Mm-hmm.
card as a reminder what the world card is in the RWS.
Yeah.
So just graphically, it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So the cards that I'm showing here for my selections of ones that I'm questioning about, it's just that it's just something that's allowing the person to change their perspective of what they know
Mm-hmm.
and associate with those cards.
And I like the obvious nod there. And then
Yeah.
because it's the world, we start over. Are we going vertically? Are we going
Yes.
horizontally? So I understand that. Yeah. And Pan Am graphics back in the day, really revolutionary, actually.
Yeah.
The advertising, very
Oh yeah.
revolutionary. I remember studying that and talking about that in my lettering classes in school.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because Pan Am had a very distinct uh,
mhm.
insignia to let people
Ah,
know of the airlines.
Robin's Reflections. Thank you. The guidebook said that the change in graphics was intentional, moving to the next art phase after pulp.
Okay. So Robin, you have the deck.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Robin. That's great. Um, Wonderful. Um, so just so that everybody knows, the minors do follow a standard format. Here are the swords where we have the same lettering and this type of layout. Pentacles is like this.
Yeah.
Cups is like this. And then the wands are like this. So it works out quite well. I'm going to talk about the Lovers and the Devil card. And Robin's reflection said, "Yep, I have it." So, and Beth asked you a question. Aimee, does that World card kind of remind you of the type of card found in the Gill?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah.
No. I mean, there's
Okay.
this, I think there's, the world is on the Gil Tarot,
Mm-hmm.
like the globe and
Mm-hmm.
and the individual standing on top of it, but I don't think of the Gil at all when I see this card.
Okay. Okay. So I want to talk about here. This is what I get for overcomplicating things as I lay them out. I like this Lovers card because I like the aspect of maybe, with the Cupid. And so there's three people instead of just the two.
Mhm.
So I appreciate that. And I think it's quite interesting. And as I was laying them out, like I usually do, so then the devil comes underneath the Lovers. And here's what I was looking at is I wonder, we have down here, we have a blonde woman, and it says, the enslaved woman and then an enslaved man. Here's what I'm wondering is that enslaved man this one and the enslaved woman
Ah.
there? Because I was like going, because the devil and the Lovers are related, and I was like
Mhm.
going, I wonder if that was intentional, and if it was, awesome, and if it wasn't, it's a
Still
bit how
awesome.
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, so,
So
and
you're
Beth said, I see that. Yeah.
so you're saying that you feel like there's a metamorphosis between the Cupid and the woman, or just the Cupid
I
itself?
think, because I think the Lovers is a bit of a choice.
Mhm.
It's a card of options. And so it looks like he is picking this person here, but Cupid is there. But then the devil, we come down, and maybe something has changed that he's actually with the Cupid,
I see.
and so then they are enslaved.
Ah,
So,
a bit
and
of
it's like
trickery.
a bit of trickery because um
I
the
can
the
see that.
devil reduces to the Lovers
Yes,
when you do the numerology. So it's like, so
I like
it's,
that.
yeah,
That's
that was
your
a bit of wonder that I had. I was like, ooh. So
that's a beautiful, way of seeing that, especially with the relationship of those 2 cards.
mhm. So yeah, and so I'm just kind of, Hitchcock saw blondes as temptresses and brunettes as faithful, is what Beth said.
Okay.
What about redheads?
All the t I don't know.
So
Uh,
I don't know.
maybe they're seen as goddesses because Titians are very rare, as blondes
Hmm.
are now.
Yeah.
Blondes are not being produced as much, let alone, redheads.
Yeah. So all right. So those are two of the cards that I absolutely love, and I'm like, ooh. So
I can't compare some of these cards. A lot of my favorites though are from the major arcana.
absolutely. What do you got?
The ones that I like, and when I got this deck, this one just did it for me. Pam Grier. I saw this as like that is the best justice I have ever seen.
It
You
is
got
one
to
of my
watch,
favorites as well.
yeah, you got to watch her films from the 70s. You don't mess with this woman.
Hmm.
And I went online just to see what she's doing and how she's doing, and um, she's doing fine. She recovered from cancer, I guess, not too
Ah.
quite a while ago, and she looks as beautiful as ever. I think she's
Hmm.
in her early 70s now. But
Hmm.
I like strong energy. And when I
Hmm.
saw this card, I'm just like, yeah, this is this is it.
I, I love this
This is
card
it.
as well. Jeffrey and I were talking about this last night, and it's like
The
going,
poster.
it's yeah, and it's I think it's like for me, the majors are like movie posters, and
Yeah.
the minors are like book covers. Practical Mystic Carol said redheads were said to be
Oh,
untrustworthy, and Beth said
very passionate.
fiery and passionate, and Ren is like OMG, and yeah, it's amazing. And it's like street justice. This is
Yeah.
a woman that I want on my side.
Yeah, she's a
I
protector.
oh yeah, ain't
Yeah.
nothing getting through to her.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing getting through her.
Yeah.
So I
And
love
this
that one
card
too.
this card is very, if we start getting justice cards coming up in readings, in the for especially this week, what's going on here this week in the States.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
don't be surprised if this card pops up in
Yeah,
readings a little bit more.
yeah. And Beth said has a definite 60s Black Panther vibe too.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I I like the Chariot. It is all sorts of the Avengers,
Yes. I remember that's one
and
of the favorites.
I have the Avengers on DVD. Yes, DVD people. And it's like she was all that, and it's just like, okay, there you go. It's the cool car.
Do you know what episode that's from?
I do not.
Okay. Because
I
that
do
that
not.
came up in the discussion when I was showing these cards. It's like, can we guess either what episode or what movie these cards are from,
Hmm.
the genres, so on and so forth. Um,
Yeah.
because I know with Diana Rigg, we always saw her in the black leather jumpsuit, and I don't know if
Hmm.
she. I don't think she's ever dressed like that, has she? Do you?
I don't think so, but
Okay.
she would have driven a car like that, and
Yeah.
she probably would have had a hat
Stand.
like that. So,
Yeah. And her stance right off the bat.
oh
I see
yeah,
her
such
hair
a beautiful card. Diana Rigg, Steed. Yep,
instead.
loved the Avengers. Nothing wrong with DVDs. Some movies I like to own. Thank you. Yep. Is that a spaceship in the back?
No, that's a Corvette. I think that's one of the
No,
earlier Corvettes.
yeah, it's a Corvette, but
Let me see here.
and I think it's just the 1960s sort of cover.
Yeah, maybe it's a
So
Corvette. I do like the
yeah,
black and white, the dogs
hmm,
facing opposite
yeah,
directions, Gerald.
yep, yes. And hi Kelly, yeah, legs for days.
Yeah.
So, and to answer your question, the question that people are thinking, no, Tarot Sachet does not have boots like that. Just saying.
Oh, I bet I know who has.
I don't. Who has them?
Oh, Roman Biscotti. I bet she has
Oh,
go-go boots.
Tangi.
Yeah,
She probably does. Tangi, if
I
you're
could totally
watching, do you have
see.
go-go boots?
I could totally see her in that
Hmm.
with the
Yeah,
wig and dancing.
exactly, exactly. So,
Alrighty. Okay, I'll just go to this one here because it's still. If Todd Alcott was joining us, I have to ask him this question.
hmm.
Um, I keep thinking this is the omen. I cannot let go of this. I keep thinking this is the omen, the
Okay.
sun card, because of the type font. And I'll move closer here. We have this, but Damien did not have blonde hair. He had dark hair. And I just,
Hmm.
for some reason, just the innocence. And I was looking at some movie posters last night of the omen to see, and there's not one that quite matches this.
Uh-huh.
And I think what's happening is there's this scene in The Omen where he is riding on a tricycle, and I think I'm just subconsciously taking
Putting
a
it into it. Yeah.
yeah, that he's on the horse, and we know what happens after, while
Hmm.
he's riding that tricycle.
Tricycle. Yep.
But
Could be.
that's what I see. But anyhow, I do like this card overall because it's holds very strong, bright energy here. We got the sunflowers, and we do have this innocent child.
Yes.
Innocent. Oh, go on.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, bouncy horse, and looks like a photograph that would be on the cover of Look or Life
Yeah,
magazine.
that's
And I think this is one of the things that Todd does so well, references things, and the fact that we're going, I have this reference to it, but it's not quite, but
yeah,
it's sort of, but it emulates exactly the meaning of the cards.
yeah. It just
So,
it just sets reference to that particular time. But like I said, I
hmm
cannot let go of this. So if
yeah,
he ever comes to join us or to join your channel, I'll definitely ask him that
yeah.
with the sunflower.
And one of the things that I want to point out is that all of the majors, they will actually have, they say major, we see his initials in the bottom, and then there's the reference to the number as well, and then we have this sort of format of the major. So
Yeah.
we so there's a lovely format to it. And Practical Mystic Carol said, I find the shadow of the horse
Nice.
interesting in the yep. Yeah.
I'm
I
curious,
just love
Carol,
it.
what do you see in the shadow?
Mm.
What makes it interesting? Does it look different? Like a different shape?
It could be several things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Hmm.
I like that. So um do you have other cards that you
I
have
do. I
questions
just
about?
don't know
Yeah.
if you wanted to take turns or I could just
Well,
keep going.
keep
Um,
going.
this one I do like a lot. Temperance, just a wonderful depiction of
Yeah.
energy, masculine, feminine, part man,
Hmm.
part woman, all angel, one foot in the water, one foot on
Yep.
land. It's like
I
the
agree. This is in my favorites too.
yeah. This is all about alchemy, the blending of these two
Hmm.
forces becoming one. And
Yes.
it's my favorite. And then we have TA, like
Hmm.
Gerald was saying, he does place his initials in quite a few of the cards. I think maybe in all of them actually.
And I think in all of them, yeah. So, and okay, so Practical Mystic Carol said, I think that the shape could be interpreted in
Okay.
many ways.
Yes.
Calla Lizzie said, a spider in the shadow of the bouncy horse.
Yep. I can see.
Robin's Reflection said, I love the titles on these cards. It's even better than color coded cards.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think the
Hi, Miss
title
Charlotte.
makes. Oh, sorry.
No, no, I was just saying hi to Miss Charlotte. And Kelly said, pouring drink from one cup to the other.
Yeah,
Um,
it's all alchemy. It's the blending.
mhm,
It's normally gold and silver. The energy, gold for masculine energy, silver for feminine energy. It's the
yeah.
amalgamation of these two. It's
Hmm.
almost like the lover's card, but in a different perspective.
Yeah. 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 That's in mine as well. And I think when I was with you, I was talking about, I love this card.
Yeah.
I love it.
No,
I
I
love it. I
remember.
love it. I love it. I love it. So
It's well done.
it's perfect.
And
Yeah.
and regarding the titles, Robin, that you were saying, because you have this deck, I think the titles work good because Todd did an amazing job on just the typography. It's not the
Hmm.
same. It adds character. It adds more personality into all of these cards. Hi,
Yeah.
and so I think that makes it more exciting. I mean, here this font is so different from a majority of the other major arcanas. This is more of a cursive type font, while all the other ones are bold and they're either
Hmm.
serif or sans serif.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going back to my graphic design.
No, I think that's really, I think this is where, again, if you purchase responsibly and know your limits and follow the link below to Todd Alcott's Etsy store and tell him that Gerald sent you, the skill in which he understands typography and the illustrations works for our benefit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
if he was to do a talk, a lecture at an art school, he definitely should be using this deck as reference as for the
Oh,
design
definitely.
element. It's just like,
Yes.
and for example, I use this font because I remember when taking graphic design classes and we had to do our presentation, we had to explain why we executed the project the way we did. And
Yes.
then we would get, critiqued by the teacher and by the students. So,
Yes. Ugh, critiques. Nancy Paper Moon Tarot is here. Hello, and said simple, clear fonts are very important to me in decks. Font matters. I
fonts
think fonts
matter.
are so very important.
Yeah.
And then, I'll get on my roll. Don't shout at me. Don't put it all in capital letters
Yeah.
because I'm annoyed. So listen to me
Except
because I'm annoyed.
except when you get to this card.
Well, yeah, that's the shout. That's
Yeah.
the,
To
you know,
convey
yes.
at the tower.
Yeah. Yeah, the tower.
Is that
And
one
I
of your
like this.
favorites?
It's not, but of course I
Okay.
have, I have them all in order, and I like that. It's like boom, there you go. We know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
It's self-explanatory.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorites is I like the Six of Wands. And
Mm.
one of the reasons that I like about the Six of Wands is I think I've seen this image or in on the cover of the Time magazine or
Yeah.
Life or
Yeah.
something like that. It's like I it's such a
Like
it's such
Jackie
an
O.
appropriate, yeah, it's such an appropriate nod to the time period. And it does look festive, Kelly. You are absolutely right. So
Yeah.
for me it's very pleasing. So, and
Do you
yeah.
have when you were growing up, did your parents have like any photos where you constantly exposed to stuff in the 60s? I know we're around the same age, but do you remember seeing stuff like that? Because sometimes we take that in subconsciously.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because this is, we'd get Life magazine and we'd pass them around to friends. And then as an art student, we would get copies of Life magazine to leaf
Mm,
through them just to see what was going on, and because it was such a great time period um for typography, advertising,
hmm.
astronauts, those sorts of things.
Yeah,
So
revolutionary.
yeah, and it does look like the astronaut ticker tape parade in New York City.
Yeah, that's right. They would always have, I forgot, they would have a woman, like the queen of the
Hmm.
parade, if you will,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
to be part of this procession.
Nancy asked a good question. Paper Moon Tarot: does the sexist approach of to women in pulp imagery bother anybody? I'm having Mad Men flashbacks. Um, Something that Todd says in the book is try not to get caught up into the gender of what's depicted.
Mhm.
He talks about that, but I'm not bothered by it. But however, I am a male, so take everything I say with a grain of salt associated with that. Um,
Um, I'm not because it's in the context that the decks are that this deck is created.
hmm.
And also remember the genre. So
True.
in the 50s, women were always seen as, the home wife staying at home. going to show this one
Yeah.
of Tippi Hedren. Look at the style
Oh,
of
yeah.
dress,
Hmm.
and everything was perfect. They had to look a certain way. Um, but I didn't grow up in the 50s,
Yeah.
so my experience of that, and I understand what you're saying, Paper Moon
Hmm.
Tarot, about the approach to this. I don't feel it is sexist at all. It's just putting, um, it's just using a genre in the tarot format. If we were to
Hmm.
change this, then the deck wouldn't be what it is. It wouldn't be the Pulp Tarot. It would
Yeah.
be something. It would be something completely different. So it's just
Hmm.
it's just the theme throughout the deck. So I don't
Sure.
take offense to this.
Yeah. And so, all right. What other card would you like to show?
Put this back.
Look at
I
me. I'm like,
have
ooh,
a
what
few.
other card do you have to show? It's like
Um,
so much fun.
okay, we know Creep Show.
Oh, yeah.
This is just the spooky horror side of me when I was
Hmm.
younger. Very,
Yeah.
very fun, playful. Um, look at him holding her by the hair.
Yeah. And what's amazing is I when I see older movies like this
Yeah,
genre of movie, I have to keep in mind this was revolutionary in that time
yeah,
period. Now we see things and it's like, but this was, yeah, creature feature, Kelly
yeah.
said. And
Also, I
I
think
think that's something to keep in
controversial.
mind.
Wasn't it a bit controversial at this time? You think
I
because
I don't know. That
okay,
makes sense though.
I'm
Hmm.
feeling for some reason this kind of because I don't. This is more of the '60s, I would say, probably early '60s, and I think the '50s of horror and the graphics of that time. It
Hmm.
wasn't so. It wasn't so
Well,
good.
and Beth said, always caused by radiation. Yes, of course. It was
What's
always caused by these sorts of things. All of the monsters were always caused
oh,
by
okay.
radiation
Like, what did
and
I miss?
all of that stuff.
Is
So
it
it's
death
like,
by
yeah,
radiation? Yeah.
death by radiation, post atomic bomb. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
I
Like
love that.
Spider-Man, there was always something um, scientific or an accident that took place on to that person, and like also the Incredible Hulk, something
Yep.
happened to that person. But the beauty of those characters is that they were once upon a time humans that have been transformed into like their darker selves, and they're being manifested into uh,
Hmm.
these powerful creatures. But there's all these messages underlying each of these
Oh yeah.
creatures. Phantom
Yeah.
of the Opera, even.
Hmm. Well, and I think, and Robin's reflection said, when I saw that card on Instagram, it made me look further into the deck. It's related to Justice, the Pam Grier, and it's like, oh, and Foxy
Foxy Brown.
Brown,
Yeah.
and, yeah, and the 50-foot woman. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Remember that one.
Yes. One card I'm going to show, and then I'm going to embiggen you because I have to do something with my dog. I am a huge fan of the Six of Cups because it
Ah,
reminds me of those little books that my grandmother had on her bookshelf, where, they were just storybooks. I think were they the golden, I don't remember.
oh, they had like I think I know what you're talking about. They're small and they had like,
Yeah.
you said
Hmm.
golden, but the spine I think was gold, and
Yeah.
I don't know if we're
Yeah.
thinking the same thing, but I
Well,
think you're,
I think we are. I think we are. I don't remember. I want to say golden nugget, but that's not right.
yeah. I,
So,
I know you're talking
um,
golden oldies. I don't
yeah,
know.
the gold spot, the golden books. So, but yeah. Hello, Joe. Thanks for being here. So the
I think it
little
is the
golden
golden
books.
books.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank
love that.
you.
Yeah, thank you. All right,
All right.
I'm going to embiggen you,
All
and
righty.
I'm still here, so I can
Okay.
still hear.
So I'll go through these cards. that I have here quickly. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we're going through the favorites. I just like the Emperor. You can't get a better depiction of an emperor than this.
Uh-huh.
Um, Very strong on on the throne. Very powerful. This is one of the more graphically illustrated cards of the emperor that I've seen. I don't have a big collection, so some of you who are deck collectors have probably seen um, other variations of the emperor, but this one I like because it stands out and it speaks volumes. Um, the only thing that just minor is just me. The fist kind of looks a little threatening to me. Um, the hands up,
Mm-hmm.
this it just kind of looks like it's a punch, and I more than likely know that that probably isn't Todd's intention, but that's just something that I just pick up on. It just looks like a little bit of a threat, but it's totally fine. It's probably not the direction for this emperor. So I like this because it just shows the power all the way, aggressive energy moving forward, and shows
Uh-huh.
strength and power. Kelly
And I
says,
think, go
"Oh,
ahead.
sorry,
Classically handsome, Kelly
so
said.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're like a
And
ghost
I,
now, Gerald."
sorry,
No, it's
I'm
okay. Do what you
almost
have to
back.
do. Yeah, British
So
Emperor. British
British.
Emperor. The other one that I do like here, I like the Magician.
Yeah.
Just, it's very simple. The type is very classical and
Mm-hmm.
falls and works very good in character for this magician.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it's very Houdini like. I like that movie with
Oh yeah.
Tony Curtis when he
Mm-hmm.
did the role of Houdini.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this energy. Very light, very playful. Seeing someone
Yes.
master and control the maestro with the
Mm-hmm.
wand guiding all of these tools. We have the lemon skate in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. And
like
I
it.
think one thing about the Emperor is,
Yeah.
and I remember this from the Robin Wood Tarot, she actually purposefully put his hand in the Emperor's hand in a fist to resemble the struggle of being the Emperor and the
Uh-huh.
difficulty and the challenge with it. So,
I can see that.
but it's like, so yeah,
I can
so
see that
probably
too.
needs a hug. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely has repressed his softer side.
Okay.
So,
That is
yeah.
one another way of seeing that. Thank you, Gerald.
Hmm. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And so, all right, getting caught up. And
See,
I
so
feel
many
like I've seen,
perspectives.
isn't that the best thing about
Yeah,
this? I think it's like, oh, I
yeah.
love it. I feel like I've seen a magician spray flowers like that before in a movie.
Image- Oh, hang on a second. Is he spraying flowers? I just see the wand up. I don't see. He
Yeah,
didn't.
there's flowers behind it.
Yeah.
So, oh, no.
Okay.
So, and Calla Lizzie says, it's a weird, is it weird that I always call it the lemon skate in my head? It's one way to remember it.
Lemon skate.
So, the lemon skate. One of the cards that I
Let's
picked
see.
out that I like is the Four of Cups.
Hmm.
And the reason I like this is I think the setting is so appropriate. It's like, is this person actually handing the cup uh, into the person to try to make them feel better? Are they taking it? It's one of these things, and it's, I don't know about you, but some days I felt like that, and I think the ability to illustrate that feeling comes across in this image, and the fact that there's it's a mystery,
Yeah.
and so it just makes it makes me happy.
I remember you
It's, yeah.
stating that for this card
Yeah.
because I think I had pulled it when
Hmm.
before we were doing our lives. This card came up, and you had mentioned about, is this cup coming in? Are we receiving, or something being
Hmm.
taken away? And
Yeah.
so it's like it leaves it up to the person who gets this card, how it's interpreted.
Yeah.
Pulp
Yeah.
noir.
Pulp noir, classic pulp fiction theme on that Four of Cups. Is the person good or bad? Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, positive or negative. Yep. I wasn't really interested in this deck before, too kitschy feeling, but this casual is changing my mind on them. Please know your limits and purchase responsibly. If you want to do that, you can find the deck on Todd Alcott's publication or on his Etsy store. So,
Like we were talking about earlier, uh, early ritual. When
hmm.
when you get the cards, when you get the cards and you start going through them and you start reading with them, you start not looking at the genres and the imagery. You start looking at the meaning of it. And so
Hmm.
at first, yes, some people may go, I don't get this deck. But if there's a pull, if there's a curiosity to it, try and
Hmm.
explore it because you may be surprised. There's quite a bit more to read into it. I was really
Yeah.
surprised with
I
this,
was too.
not
I
expect.
was, yeah, yeah. I agree, Amy. I was not expecting to
Yeah,
get such clear readings with the deck.
yeah,
And I loved it and I enjoyed looking at it. And then when I started to use it, it was like, oh wow,
yeah,
these are clear. These are
yeah.
clear.
And this was
So
gifted to Gerald, so he had no idea of the deck, and he looked through
yeah.
it, and you build a relationship with it.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
so you'll know how
Yep.
it works.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So
Um, I got one more.
oh please. The Seven of Cups.
I like this one. Just a majority of the cards that I'm pulling, I'm just pulling them out because of the imagery. I read
Hmm.
energetically, but the cards I do pull with the imagery, there's also a nice feel to it that allows me
Yeah.
to read into the cards more. So this I like because sometimes when we see the Seven of Cups being depicted, we see cups that are empty. We can't really tell what's inside. Here, we're getting more or less of different options,
Hmm.
things that could be enticing us, things that could be distracting us. Um, and this is like Zolar. It's not quite Zolar, but it reminds me a little bit of
Oh yeah. Yeah.
um, the talking fortune teller. And so I like this. This is a reminder of what's out there, and just to be mindful.
Hmm.
Use your intuition. Follow carefully, listen to what's being called to you before jumping and making a irrational decision. Weigh out everything.
Looks like Rudolph
It
Valentino.
does. It does,
And
doesn't it?
Calla Lizzie loves the Seven of Cups in this deck. So,
It's very
I
classic.
yeah, I found that I
Really.
really liked the Pentacles in this deck a lot. The
Hmm,
Pentacles for me were a winning deck, and I like this Three of Pentacles,
that was really fun.
and it really puts it into the time period. There's planning, there's plotting, um, and at the same time doing we're doing the work of the Three of Pentacles.
Hmm.
And I like how the Three of Pentacles requires cooperation in my mind. And
Yeah,
so we have, okay, who is who and who's pointing and who's going to be doing the dirty work. And it's up to it's yet to be seen.
yeah.
Um, and
That's
that's a wonderful visual for of the Seven of Cups, Michelle Marie said. Yes. Oh
that's
yeah,
very.
it's like an astrology triad.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Hmm.
The
So
Pentacles, interesting. Well, This was one of my favorites from the Pentacles. We have
Mm-hmm.
the muse. We're seeing the inspiration. Um,
Yes.
and I like how he has all the pentacles up on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He is, I don't know, Gerald, overachiever maybe? I don't know. He's goal
Overachiever,
oriented.
yeah.
He's
He's
goal
goal
oriented.
oriented,
Yeah, not
but
overachieving.
he's certainly doing the work
Yeah,
of what's needed in the eight. This is where you have to keep on keeping on, and you have to do it
yeah.
100 times to get to where it takes you to that next level.
But you're
I
doing what you
completely
love.
understand.
That's the thing that's important with the pentacles, because your pentacles
Mm-hmm.
is all of the time, the work, the investment
Yeah.
that you're putting into something that you enjoy, that you believe in, that includes yourself as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the focus with the pentacles. I kind
Yeah.
of liked the pentacles. It it didn't wow me so much. Um, just if you ask me why, this suit here is a very hard suit. And what I mean hard is we're seeing business, we're seeing power, how it's being used. I'm sorry, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to throw some cards out.
No, go for it.
We're seeing the CEO, we're seeing how we use this power. Um, it's it focuses on the material side with
Mm-hmm.
pentacles. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I wrote some notes here about the pentacles. Um, the characters, the personas here are strong.
Mm-hmm.
Strong women here,
Yeah.
another strong person here, dealing
Yeah.
with wealth and security. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Audrey Hepburn. Her strength
Yep.
comes from the soul, though,
Mm-hmm.
because of the person that she was. It's very simple. Look at that
Mm-hmm.
card and then hold that one up. Now look at this one.
Yeah.
Completely different energy, but
Mm-hmm.
still power, but still very strong.
Yeah. And Robin's reflection said, "It's kind of Godfather. I'm here for it." Yeah.
This one probably. What do you think, Gerald? How do you feel? What's your take with
I
pentacles?
I think the Pentacles are is this is for me one of the better Pentacle suits in a tarot deck,
Huh.
because I find it very practical. The Five of Pentacles, while it tells a story, it tells is this person going away from the city, or are they running to something? Are they running from something?
Yeah.
And this is I could see these are this is the mystery book, the mystery pulp,
Yeah.
uh, and I'm like, okay, what's going on, and the twist, and um, the I like this Ten of Pentacles. This would have been an ad in a magazine,
Yeah. That's
and yep, and you have all of the 10 pentacles because it's a piece of artwork on the wall, and you'd have to be pretty wealthy in order to be able to handle that, to have that. So
yeah,
it's
we're
just like,
seeing
okay.
comfort in
Hmm.
many different ways. But
Yes.
this suit in particular with this deck, I feel it's just hard.
Hmm.
Um, it's it shows the effort, it shows the results of
Yes.
the time that you put into what you're working to. I was going to say something else because I started feeling something as you were showing the pentacles, and it's not sticking with me now. I lost it.
Okay. If it comes back, we're still
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. It's all good.
And I love the Queen of Pentacles. This is one I it's
Right.
okay. She's using her pentacle as a weapon, and it it just makes me smile, and that's enough for me. But I'm like going, okay, there you go. She's got it. She is all that. She's wielding her pentacle for her own use, and it's like boom. So, and it's the
Hmm.
same world of Cold War era USA as the zombie tarot. Oh yes, that's an interesting thing, Joe. I need to. I think what I want to do is I want to pull out the zombie tarot
Wow.
and look at it with this as well as the housewives tarot because
Huh.
they're all about the 50s and the 60s.
Comparing.
So I think they could play nicely together.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
So
I don't have any decks in my collection that I can actually do this with, but what you mentioned, those two decks sound like it is a good combination because of the time frame
mhm.
that they come from. Um, what happened?
Just favored it on Etsy. Gerald and Aimee made me do it.
No, no.
No,
Don't
no, no.
spread it
Purchase
around.
responsibly.
Yeah,
However,
put that up there,
I
yes.
yeah, I, I, I am actually um, what I really appreciate is how clearly this reads for me. The deck, it reads really, really well. So,
It's
oh,
I know I mentioned this when I was doing my discussion and insight about this deck. It is genre related, so there are some people that will just go, "I don't get it." But,
mhm,
um, I'm certain there a deck, not the Housewives, but isn't there a deck for modern times that kinda brings in this kind of, um, feel of what's going on currently? Like, there's, like, the modern witch, it puts things into a modern context. The reason why I'm saying this is for anybody of younger generation, you may wanna bring out that deck and look at this and compare and see what's the, um, what was going on back then
mhm,
versus now. It's gonna be completely different, but you may get a better understanding by comparing these 2 different generations of,
mhm.
decks. I don't know if that made sense or not, but
I can't think of which deck you're talking about, but I you're talking about this feeling using modern images
mhm,
and
or
so,
contemporary, what's
contemporary. That's
mhm.
that's the better word.
The
And cultural history. Amy Beth said asked cultural history. Is that what you were
the name of the
referencing?
deck?
I don't know if that's the name of the deck. I don't. So, but Beth said I could see this deck
Yeah.
with Housewives combo for relationship readings,
Oh,
and the combining the zombie housewives and the pulp. And Calla Lizzie asked if there is a Mad Men's tarot. I don't. I don't know.
don't know.
Uh, yeah. And Ren said, I mean, this deck is not for me, so I won't buy it. However, it's interesting to go over and through decks. In my opinion, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree because there have been some times when I have actually I've watched I've thought that I wanted a deck and then I watch a flip through of it or and a walkthrough and I watch it being used and the energy is just not there for me. It's like,
yeah,
okay, that's what I needed.
yeah.
So
But pay
so
attention to those callings of decks that you see that you're kinda like, I don't know, there's something about it, I just don't know what it is. Give it time because that's what's happened to me, and
yes.
I wait a few years, and I come across the deck a few years later, and then the timing of seeing that deck at that moment is like, "Okay, now I get it."
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
but this deck is playful, it has that lightheartedness. When I got this deck, I was talking that maybe this is a deck to use for Halloween because of the imagery. It's playful.
Sure.
It's something that can work for a lot of people. It's not
Hmm.
esoteric in any way where people are just like, what, I don't get it. So this can work over for a lot of people when doing readings because it's almost self-explanatory.
Yeah. And Robin's reflection said it's so clear in the guidebook, cleverly written and helpful. So if you aren't into pulp like me, the font made it so easy to read and see where the elements fall, especially in a large
Yeah,
spread. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
I agree.
So, an early ritual said that this one is just very well done, which I think some of the other nostalgia type decks are sometimes lacking. This elevates the gimmick, for lack of a better word. It is a quality deck, and it's just like decorating styles.
Yeah,
Sometimes people, they really are attracted to a decorating style, and others are not,
yeah,
and doesn't make it better or worse. It just is.
yeah. One thing I like too is the swords holds like a traditional feel and throughout
Mm-hmm.
the suit, just from the font to the imagery. It's just
Yes.
very like
Mm-hmm.
Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
And then we get to the wands, and the wand starts looking maybe a little bit. You could keep going. I'm sorry, Gerald. I'm just
No,
thinking.
you're fine. I'm just showing.
And then the wands, we start seeing movement,
Mm-hmm.
almost
Yes.
60s,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like this card, one of Gerald's favorite. We start seeing
Mm-hmm.
a transition
Yes.
with the suits,
Yeah.
the wands.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Practical Mystic Carol said, great at parties, where there are people who are new to tarot. This could introduce them in a lighthearted manner.
Yeah.
And Beth Aspasia Rising said, yes, this deck definitely was not phoned in. Yep. Hi, Nancy of Crohn's Intuition. Good to see you.
Hi, Nancy. I think he
Yeah.
did spend some time because I think this is his first deck. I think this is his first tarot deck. So
Yeah.
the
And
the time that he put into it, it shows. Well thought out.
oh, definitely. Well thought out. Because we've shown a bunch of the other cards, I'm going to flip quickly through the cups because
Yeah.
we've shown a lot of the other cards. So there is definitely a feel within each of the suits. She can bring home the bacon and fry it up in a pan and never let you forget. So, and there's the 10 of cups, which we were
Yeah.
talking about, the tens. So it's like, yay. And the ability to capture that exuberance in an
Yes.
image is really good.
Yeah. This is the
So,
ultimate 10 of cups.
uh-huh. So, and then we have,
Suits. Yeah.
I want to be this person. This is how I think I look when I wake up and get out of bed before I look in the mirror. This is exactly how I look. There you go.
It's all dry cleaned. You're holding the cup.
Well, dry clean, holding the cup,
You walk
broad
out.
shoulders and,
Yeah.
great, great,
Your yacht.
great for a suit for wearing um, for wearing
The
on the
yacht
boat. And,
party.
and I do think that was Gidget. Does look like Gidget, the page.
Yeah, wasn't everyone saying Sally Fields? Wasn't she
Something
Gidget?
like that.
Wasn't
Something
Sally
like that.
Fields Gidget?
Hmm. I
Remember.
believe so. And yes, the Queen of Cups, Fairy Hitchcock.
Yeah.
So
Tippy.
yeah, Tippi Hedren. So, my
Definitely.
goodness. Well, any last minute words? This has been so much fun. Thank you for joining me. Thanks, everybody. Do you have others
This
that you
deck,
want to talk about? Yeah.
yeah, this deck is I think we've covered it. I knew we wouldn't be saying too much because the deck just holds its own weight. Um, just I think primarily for those, like I said, are kind of back and forth with this deck, if you feel it calling, just give it a try,
Hmm.
because we're not selling this deck.
No.
It was gifted to Gerald. I bought it because there was a draw for it and I didn't know what it was. I like the lightheartedness of it, but as we said, like probably 30 minutes ago, both of us were pleasantly surprised by
Oh, yeah.
actually reading with this deck.
Hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
so, it there's a reason why this deck falls into our hands, because it's
Hmm.
something that we can learn a lesson with, something to explore. And sometimes we get
Yes.
decks that just don't connect, and that's fine as well. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, if you're curious about this deck, explore it and see what you
Hmm.
get.
And the link to when Aimee had me on her channel to do the readings is in the description below. So, and thank you, Ren
Thank
and Sandra D and Deborah Wally.
you. That's right.
And
They had to,
we had just a few, but they were just questions that we were curious about, really.
yeah.
So, you're welcome, Kelly.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Practical Mystic Carol, for joining. Um,
Should we
so,
pull some cards or a card? Do you feel
yeah,
like?
let's do it. Yeah, of
Okay.
course. I mean, people in chat, do you mind if we pull a card for you? I'm going to
Just
shuffle these. So,
shuffle a little longer because I know you put yours in order.
yeah, that's okay. So, oh, and Jonathan said, thanks for adding a new deck to my want list, Gerald
Okay.
and Jamie. So,
Let us know, Jonathan. Do a review of it. I'd like to know what you think of it.
yeah. So,
Right.
you're welcome, Joe and Charlotte. And Beth has got to run, probably to take the dog out or
Thank you, Beth.
spending time with grandbaby. So,
Alrighty.
so
Well, we've been talking so much about how well the deck reads. We might as well just do a reading.
let's prove it. Yeah.
Okay. So mine was in order. Gerald's was in order as well.
Well,
So let's see here. I'm going to shuffle a little bit.
mix them up. And it works both for me as a riffle shuffle and an overhand. So that works for me. And Jonathan, if you get the deck, hashtag know your limits, purchase responsibly. But if you get it from Etsy, be funny and, tell him Gerald and Aimee made you do it. But,
Oops.
all right. It would actually be a fun one to tell your husband to get you, Jonathan.
In
Let
what
him do
way?
it. Oh, it's just that way he didn't have to buy it.
Oh, okay.
His husband bought it for him.
Now Christmas is coming up.
Christmas is coming, yeah.
So
All
let me
right,
get
so
a
we're going to
clock.
pull a card for the collective.
Actually, the first card that I pulled from this deck was the Hermit.
Yes.
So, what
Oh,
was the first card that you got? Do you remember? Or you did
I
multiple
don't.
cards? Okay.
I don't. And usually when I do a deck interview spread, I put it on a piece of paper and slip it in with the deck so I can save it for later and look at it. But I don't remember. I don't have it in the box with it.
Okay.
So
No, for sure. Jonathan's husband thinks that he has too many decks. Well,
well, maybe. I'm ready when you are.
okay. Give it. Mm. Okay. Should we just go at once?
Let's
One,
just
two, three.
put them up. One,
There we go.
2, 3.
I knew it was
Oh.
going to be wands. I was like, I feel wands. I feel wands. Look
Mm-hmm.
at that.
And
Mm,
we've talked about this card, the Queen of Cups, multiple times,
yeah.
and it's nostalgia. And I love how on her face she is very content.
Yeah.
She's content. Maybe she's watching TV, and all of the firewood behind. Um, it's just is. It just reminds me of the importance of being content where you are, and being that as your power, and it makes you even more glorious because she's pretty dang stylish.
Yeah. Also,
So,
I feel there's some security that she has because she is. I mean, look at that couch. Very comfortable. You
mhm,
want to be in your comfort level.
yes.
Um, and what else am I seeing there?
And Calla Lizzie said she's content, but she could be in trouble. Tippy and Marnie or Princess Di
Ah,
could be, could be. So, what
alrighty.
do you think about the Eight of Wands?
I was feeling, like I said, while shuffling, it's like I feel wands. Um, I would say overwhelm. I mean, with the Eight of Wands, we're just seeing a lot of forces and energy coming in so many different directions.
Hmm.
If this card here, it's looking more that's coming at us. In
Mm.
different decks, we usually see the direction of wands based on the point or the ends of the wands. They're
Uh-huh.
moving, they're crossing with each other. Some are going down, some are going sideways. But here, this Eight of Wands is coming directly at you, almost like missiles.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Mm.
I don't take this as a threat. It's just a, with the Eight of Wands energy, just a lot of stuff is coming at you. It's just an awareness of taking hold of these responsibilities. These are different ways of approaching things that are being. I almost see the Eight of Wands as a gift. I rather have this kind of
Hmm.
energy than nothing going on. And so it's how we're managing this. So with the
Uh-huh.
Eight of Wands, I'd like to say for everyone, um, if you're feeling overwhelmed or you feel like there's a lot of responsibilities coming to you, don't shriek. Don't let those wands touch the ground. They're there at you. You've been gifted this opportunity to manage and maybe grow and direct this energy into a way that it can be of greater abundance. Wands is all about movement, and it's how we direct and where we place this energy toward.
Hmm.
If we don't do anything with it, of course, it's going to come strike us. It's going to afflict us in many different ways. So, quite opposing energy to the Queen of Cups.
Well, and I would say when you have all of that energy moving toward you or around you, take a moment and have a cup of coffee, have a cup of tea, and feel secure in your emotions,
Mhm.
because there is an emotional maturity around the Queen of Cups. She's content where she is. She's got the cup close to her, and perhaps she's whispering things in her cup to keep her going,
Mhm.
and to keep her confident. So when, you know, perhaps we should spend a little bit of time taking care of ourselves emotionally
Mhm.
before we go interact with the world, so that we can be solid in the eights, in
Yeah.
the moment of the eights.
I think these cards are both good messages. I'm not going to go
Yes.
political for the next 24 hours. So we're talking about knowing your limits, purchasing responsibility. Let's think carefully in the next 24 hours about actions and choices that we're going to make in all areas of our life.
Yes.
That's
And thinking of the long-term impact
yes,
of those actions.
yes.
So,
Because remember, it's
and
all direction.
yeah. Practical Mystic Carol said, I think that we can use all the fire available to us if we just reach up, where you may have resistance. Water and fire has to come to an agreement in order to work.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of give
And
and take with opposing elements. So you have to
mhm.
come to middle ground.
Miss Charlotte, shoes on the sofa, mom would kill me. Yeah, yeah. But
Unless
oh,
they're
and
cooking and
Robin's
cheesecake.
yeah, yeah, has hot chocolate. Whatever you mean.
Open-ended.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Open-ended.
all right, everybody, thank you.
Thank
Aimee,
you.
thank you so very much for joining me.
You're
This has been
welcome.
fun.
Thank you so much,
So,
Gerald. Always enjoy the
so
company.
yes,
It
and
can be really
a
in-depth, fun. We don't know what's going to happen. We're serious.
and we roll with it pretty well, I think.
I think we do.
So,
Very
yes.
nicely.
Yes, and Aimee will be back for readings for Long Stash in December. I think December 19th, I believe.
Yeah, we're deciding we're going to do 2 days, alternate.
So I think we'll just do it on mine.
Okay.
But
Okay.
stay tuned, everybody. So
Yes.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful rest of your day,
Yes.
and take care of yourself. Everybody, be good to yourself and be good to each other.